Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, I have here about 6, maybe 7 articles from Ukraine, from China, from India, and from United States of America, including Donald Trump. We're going to find out what was Donald Trump's biggest mistake during his presidency. And that's one of them. The other one, it seems like the Russians, according to the Russians, it seems, because I don't know if that's really true, that's what they report, the Russians encircled a bunch of Ukrainians in Kursk. Yesterday, Syrskyi, the General Syrskyi, the Russian general that is in charge of the Ukrainian army, denied the reports. We're going to discuss that one. Thousands of North Korean troops are in Kursk Oblast, and they already tell us that they are ready to assist Russia against Ukrainian forces. Therefore, NATO must come and help us defend from those guys. Then we find out from the Telegraph and many others, CNN, and they have now a tape, a record, where they hear a recorded conversation between the allegedly Russian soldiers complaining about the presence of the North Korean soldiers on the front. We'll discuss that. I can make, if you want, I can show you the Romanian military being upset that they are deployed in Ukraine, and it's going to be me and my cousin, and you're going to hear the conversation, the voices, and we're going to complain that we are deployed by the Romanian military in Kursk. You want to hear that? All right. You know exactly where I'm going with that. I can make you whatever tape you want. You want to have some French guys talking about French troops deployed in, I don't know, in Washington, D.C.? I can make that happen. Why? Get two French guys and just record them. French people, friends. Next one. We have here, the Russians claim that they liberated 2, or occupied, however you want to look, but according to the Russians, obviously they liberated 2 towns in Donetsk. Then we have a few maps to show you where that is located and the developments on the front. Then we find out that we have a military analyst from New Voice of Ukraine, and he's telling us that the situation on the front for the Ukrainian is worsening as Selydove falls to Russian control. That's very important town. I will show you where that is. It's going towards Pokrovsk, as the other one as well. Then we find out that the Russians launched about 7 missiles and 91 drones at Ukraine. And we'll see what the aftermath of that is. Actions have consequences. In this case, if you have 2 guys that used to argue and fight, come to terms and become friends, you should celebrate it in the name of, friendship. Hey, these guys are not going to scratch one another or poke each other in the eyes, right? Well, it depends. If those are your enemies, then yes, you don't like that a bit. You want them to fight. Well, India and China in Kazan, Russia, during this BRICS summit, they agreed with certain things that the West now is upset. And they say that China Xi Jinping undercut the West, and then India doesn't want to be in our alliance, that is in our plantation as a field plantation worker, the one that cuts the sugar cane, not pick the cotton, but well, you can use that too. Okay, so we have those 2 articles ready for you. So Xi Jinping and Modi are bad dudes. They're gonna start doing that. I'm a little bit not tired, but I went to a Romanian party last night. It was not a party, it was a baptism, but I met some of the Romanian community in Detroit. I had a good time, and there were some eventful situations over there, like the old times. All right, let's start with Donald Trump. This is according to Variety. You can find it on many other media outlets. Donald Trump tells Joe Rogan that the biggest mistake of his presidency was picking, quote unquote, bad disloyal people. What did I tell you? Now, Donald Trump is not a teenage guy, right? So that means you can say inexperience in knowing people, in figuring out, guessing people, or understanding people. So that's one. He's what, almost 80. He's in charge of a big financial, in this case, whatever empire he is. He's worth billions of dollars. So he's not an idiot, obviously. So how can you, according to him, make a mistake in it's not only one, it's picking bad, disloyal people, plural. Why is that? We're going to discuss that. I'm going to go to the idea that if you are 80 or you are 40, I'm not 40, man, 40 is already too late. Yes, if you are 28, and when you're 28, that's the latest year I would give a man. If you cannot figure out people in the first 5 minutes of the conversation, who that person is, how he thinks, and what kind of character he has, I know. Ask questions. And he was in charge of asking questions. If you can't do that by 28, you just maybe look at someone's behavior, someone's little eyes moving around, you're going to understand that you have a long work, or you have a lot of work to do. So Donald Trump saying that at 80, at that time he was what, 70? He didn't know, he made some mistakes about figuring people out. I don't believe that. So what was the process of picking those people? He didn't know them personally, probably, and if he did, and he didn't know who they were, that means I'm very disappointed with Mr. Trump. He, in his experience dealing with people, the art of war, the art of the negotiations, you have to understand that person, not only the knowledge that you have, that you understand the person, you have to know where to hit him, where to let him go, where to be smooth, where to be rough. How do you know that? How do you do that? By knowing the other person. Psychology, by asking. The other guy is going to play rough as well. But it was not really the case. So he was in the office and he was presented by other people with these candidates. And he picked them, right? Because he chose them, he said. So who brought those guys in? And those guys were not his people. As I said, the people that are brought to you, how many people do you know? And Trump, how many people does he know really? He knows some bankers who gets his money from when he wants to make some construction projects. He knows some of his, whatever he's got, CEOs of whatever little companies that he's got. He's got his family all around, some that he's interested in, some doesn't know what the hell they're doing. But the main point is you have to already have an eye, 5 minutes. That's all you need, 5 minutes. And a few questions and answers given. The way they give the answer, the body language, and he's not 12, he's 78 or whatever he is. So my point is, people bring it in, you bring them, and then they pull a Brutus on you. I don't get that at all. And I named many people that he appointed before, and I said, what is that Prigus Pragarigus Pagarogos, the first White House chief of staff, was doing over there? Who was that guy? He was a guy in the whole marsh, right? Then who was he? Brought his Kushner, what were his credentials? Being Jewish? That was his credential to being the senior advisor for the Middle East. What did he know? Knew some. His father knew some, and Netanyahu slept at his apartment, whatever, a few times. That's his expertise? And the other guy is not a political scientist or anybody or someone who was involved in things. No, he was building things too. So all he knows is bankers and some construction workers. I'm just exaggerating. I'm making it that way. Who else? He appointed John Bolton. When Trump appointed John Bolton, I said, what the hell? He had John Milley, another one. I could have told you one when I saw Mark Milley in that congressional hearing where he said that he's an angry white man and he has to do, I would say, fuck you, you're out. That, for me, it was enough. That should have been enough for Trump and many other things. I mean, Trump did not have a good impression of Milley. So I'm disappointed, Mr. Trump, to even talk about it. But at least you are honest. But I think the process of choosing these guys is not the one that you already told. There are many people over there that would be loyal for you without even knowing them. All right, hint. Let's go to the next topic here. Russia Today. Kursk encirclement, Donbass push and drone warfare. The past week in the Ukraine conflict. And I picked this one for this little subtitle. Some 2,000 Ukrainian servicemen have ended up encircled in Russia's Kursk region, according to the Russians, obviously. So the Russian military announced that it had secured two communities in the north of the republic, the village of Serbryanka, located immediately north of the town of Seversk, and as well as Novosadoivoye, an abandoned settlement adjacent to border with the Lugansk People's Republic. Donbass, boop, boop, boop. Then Donbass, these guys, obviously I say they advance near Pokrovsk, and then we have Ukrainian units encircled in Kursk. Where is Kursk? Kursk is right here in the north of Ukraine, or northeast, which is in Russia. Obviously, this is the invasion of the foreign troops on a independent country, sovereign country of Russia, and the other way. So this guy said, you attack us, we're going to attack you. So this is somewhere where this happened, the encirclement. The Russian military has continued its efforts to dislodge Kiev's forces from the border area of Kursk region, which Ukraine invaded in early August. Most active hostilities have continued in the northwest of the area, namely in the vicinity of the Papapap. There is, in this area, the Russians are pushing to cut them like this. Russian forces have reported repelled multiple assaults over the week, as well as conducted attacks on Ukrainian forces in the area. On Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin said that some 2,000 Ukrainian servicemen had wound up encircled in Kursk region. The troops are trapped in an area measuring 6 by 15 kilometers, so that's about 4 miles per 9 miles, and Russian forces are working to eliminate the pocket, the president said. Putin did not elaborate on exactly where the Ukrainian forces were encircled, and the military is remaining silent on the matter. The pocket is likely located to the south villages of Olgovka and Kremyanoye, apparently stretching to the southeast and presumably centered on a small forest some 2.5 kilometers in diameter. So that should be in this area. But that's, remember, what they claim. This is what the Russians claim. We don't know if that's true. But I think there's no smoke without fire. Next one. The new voice of Ukraine. Thousands of North Korean soldiers arrive in Kursk to assist Russia against Ukrainian forces. Now, a few points here. First, they keep on telling us from could, might, now they upgraded to it is. That's how the media does. And when people want to lie and make a point, they come with half-truth or things that are not really known, and they put them together and they make a conclusion, and at the end they enumerate those not necessarily true things or 100% truthful. You don't know. It's a report. We don't know the report if it's true. We don't verify it. It could be, most likely, these kind of things. They put them together. With all these not really facts, they reach a conclusion and they make the statement. But not all, but usually those arguments, that evidence that is over there, presented for you, displayed for you to support their thesis, are just one by one, are not, okay, this is not true, this is still needs to be seen, and so on. So now we know, we got to the point where we know there's thousands of North Korean troops in Kursk, and we already know the intent. They are ready to fight Ukraine. So we are in big trouble. There is the guys in charge of us, I know which hand, arm to, the guys in charge of us, our mommy and daddy, that are over there to protect our rights, okay? They will protect us as well from the evil guys, because they know the intent of the Russians. So they will send you to fight over there because the Russians got the North Koreans and they want to, invade. That's a world war the Russians escalated it to, okay? This is the narrative, and they will, the mass media, the baboons in the mass media, actually the operatives in the mass media will continue to talk to the baboons and tell them that, and the baboons by repetition are going to be conditioned to believe, yeah man, let's do it. Did you hear those guys are there to fight the Russians, the Ukrainians, and then come towards us? Hey, is it evidence? Yeah, we have some satellite evidence. This is the evidence these guys have. You see this picture? This is a picture of somewhere in North Korea. At least give me a picture of these guys somewhere over there. But hey, they will come with that. I hope they will provide the evidence. So far, I don't get. And the evidence comes from exactly the ones that will benefit from that. Isn't that strange? But Nord Stream pipelines 1 and 2, we don't know what happened over there. Why? Because the prime suspect by far is the guy who you say something, I'm going to punch you in the face, you do this, I'm going to smack you, and so on. All right, it says that it is noted that the North Korean soldiers have not yet engaged in combat. It remains unclear. They don't know yet, but they will tell you what they know, which is they are already combatant troops. It remains unclear what role they will play on the front lines. But they already say they're there. Can they be there? Russia and North Korea are in an alliance right now. They signed that in Pyongyang, and then the Duma ratified that agreement. So that is, and over there it says, in defense, in self-defense, if someone attacks me, you automatically support me. The details of support is depending on the situation. Now, the Russians, according to them, were attacked, invaded by foreign forces in Kursk. That qualifies as an attack, right? Let alone we, the Russians, attack them. But these guys invaded our country. Therefore, that qualifies, probably according to their understanding, you guys help us. And those guys help them. Why? Because these good guys help the South Koreans fight the North Koreans, brothers against brothers, Russians against Ukrainians, brothers against brothers. And the non-brothers are staying outside and fanning the fire. Strange? No. It's just in my imagination, because if you look in the history, you will never find anything like this. Before, it used to be religious as well. And I think it's still right now. Why? Do you think these guys shook hands, the Orthodox, the Catholics, and the Protestants? Do you think so? I'm talking about the Christendom. No, I don't think so. I mean, why would they? They just realized one day that, hey, actually we're brothers, but hey, I remain here in charge with my little group. You stay over there, and all we do is worship the same. All right, let's go to the next one. This is, again, a audio tape. The Telegraph. What the F do to do with them? End quote. Russian soldiers heard complaining about North Korean recruits. All right. It says Russian soldiers have been heard complaining about the Chinese. That's what they say. And quote, first North Korean troops arrive on the front line of Moscow's war against Ukraine. In an intercepted phone call released by Ukrainian intelligence, 2 Russian servicemen criticized chaotic plans to integrate North Korean soldiers into their command structure. And one soldier used a racist term, how it plays in the Western minds. What a coincidence. All right. So it said one. This is so, as I said, this is the baboons. It's for baboons, not for us. For the baboons. One soldier used a racist term to refer to Koreans as, and I'm quoting, Chinese, end quote. In another snippet reported by CNN, a soldier described the reaction of a fellow Russian soldiers after meeting with a new Korean arrivals. And I'm quoting, he's like standing there with his eyes out like bab. He came here and says what the fuck to do with them. No. Isn't that strange? This is the message. So those guys are there. This is the evidence. But we don't have the evidence they were really Russian fighters. It could be, I don't know, 2 Russian guys working for the Ukrainian government, or for the, I don't know, maybe 2 Russian Americans that were. I mean, you want me to produce a tape like that? I can produce a tape like that. I get 2 Russian friends from Michigan, and I can produce that tape just like this. Do I think that's exactly what it is? I'm very much inclined to believe that's exactly what it is, in order to win a war and create problems over there. So the North Koreans and the Russians could start fighting. That's the whole point. Oh, look, and those guys are racist. Why? They're going to show not only the baboons here. See, those guys are bad. No, no good character. That kind of thing over there, it doesn't have the same negative connotation as here. I'm not saying that's good. I'm just relating to you. I'm just telling you. Reporting to you. I'm just telling you. Like, for instance, in Romania, you can say these kind of things in Romanian culture and nobody will blink. Now they try to put the same thing here. Oh, okay, you can't say this. You can say Eskimo. You have to say Inuit. No. All right. You're not the judge, or you're not the thought and a speech police, because I didn't agree with that. I'm a free human being. You can say whatever you want, but don't change my speech the way you want to be, and you shame me for that. I'm a free human fucking being. You're not in charge of me with my speech, and your speech is very offensive, and I can make a little bit of mental gymnastics to prove, as they prove, the other thing, because I feel offended. I feel offended by your look. Don't look at anybody. Maybe we can do something about it. You know, it's crazy. So they do like this. They want to create the illusions for the baboons. Yeah, man, those are bad. You see how bad they are? They even treat those other bad people bad. Why? Because this kind of things, the racism here is core of everyone. Then what the other one is going to be, I was going to say, oh, this guy looks like a woman. We're going to the gender agenda in one audio. What was the odds? All right? And the other one tries to create the problems between our enemies, North Koreans in this case, and the Russians. Just ask yourself this question. How do you know this tape is legitimate? If you tell me because the government tells us so, don't stay on this fucking channel. If you tell me the government and the intelligence told us so, again, get the fuck out. Or stay here and keep listening. Maybe you're gonna learn something. But I'm pretty sure if you're here in the minute, let me put my goggles on, in the minute 21:54, so minute 22, and you're still here, that means you don't believe that, the government said that, must be true. Verify, and then make up your own mind. But don't look only on the one source. So, possibility and probability. Possibility, is it possible? 100% possible that tape is accurate, legitimate, and all that. Possible. Is it probable? I would give it 2%. That's me. As a free human being, I'm entitled, because they didn't prove anything. I can make that easily. That's a war. That's very big stakes out there, like steaks that you eat. Okay, so there's very big stakes over there. At stake, let's put it. Anyway, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay. All right, so then we got that one covered. Is it possible? As I said, it's possible. Probable? Nah. They gave us exactly this. Oy vey. Who's in charge? They. Next one. This is the Telegraph. The same thing here. I used it on 2. So, Telegraph. Oh, it's the same thing. How did I do it? Because I'm a Rita. Yeah, I'm a Rita. All right, then. You see, this is, you can use this, and I'm going to use it. I'm using it as 2, how do you call it? 2 sources of information, verifying. You see, so one is from the Telegraph, one source, and then the other source is from the Telegraph. So I got to see 2 sources, which is the same. So the same when you hear here CNN and MSNBC saying, I know, Gigi got drunk last night, is the same source with 2 different names. All right, the same here, but here is the same name, but I exaggerated, obviously. Next one. Let's see what the Russians liberate. Sputnik. Russian forces liberate Izmailovka in Donetsk region. Where is that? So this is Kursk. And we go to, it's by Pokrovsk. I'm going to show you 2 maps on this one. Let me get this smaller or zoom out. Here is Donetsk People Republic, or Donetsk Oblast. Here is Pokrovsk. What the hell? I got something to say. Yeah, different, change of plan. So here is Pokrovsk. I'm going to show you this, and this is the little town of Bethlehem, Izmailovka. This is next to, what are you, baby doll? I was about to say parallel, but Hirnik. That's how they call it. So they liberated this. So they push northwest. So this is southeast of Pokrovsk. That's the thing. That's the problem. Pokrovsk, southeast. And on the other map, Pokrovsk, which the Russians call differently, Krasnoarmeysk. This is in this area right here. And they didn't only conquer this, let's put it this way, they got Selydove in the next one, which is right here. These guys are not updating their shit. All right, and then it follows this Kurakovo and all this. That's done. That's done. All right, so that is Izmailovka. And I'm quoting, units of the Central Battle Group through active offensive actions liberated the settlement of Izmailovka in the Donetsk People's Republic. Next one. Military analyst says situation worsening as Selydove forced Russian control. Selydove was the one I showed you right here. Selydove. Pokrovsk is right here. So this thing fell, and I'm going to show you another map with this dude here. So this is Selydove, and it's done, and Selydove is where my strong hand is, and Pokrovsk is right here. These guys are done. They're toast. Toast. So situation worsening. Let's see what this guy says. And this guy want me to do something. I don't do that. This is coming from the Ukrainian, not from the Russians. Military analyst Denis Popovich shared on radio New Voice of Ukraine on October 26 that the situation in and around Selydove is worsening. A significant part of the city is already occupied by the enemy. That's first. Second, the enemy is also trying to encircle the city. I think the city is took a shit. Right there. This is the city. Right there. Want some shoes? Alright, well, I need to do this. What can you do? So this is Selydove. Most of it's in the Russians' hands. There's some pretty troubling information that almost all logistical routes from Selydove have been cut off, are under enemy fire control, which severely hampers logistics. Hampers is from humping. Now Popovich explains. All right, so let's go to the next one. New Voice of Ukraine. Russians launched 7 missiles and 91 drones at Ukraine. Air defense down 44 UAVs. This is from last night. Russian forces have launched 7 missiles and 91 drones at Ukraine since the evening of October 25. As of noon of October 26, Ukraine's air defense has shot down 44, according to the air forces and armed forces of Ukraine. They destroyed, or at least in total, the radio technical troops of the air forces detected and tracked 98 targets. 3 Iskander MKN-23 ballistic missiles, 2 X-59 guided air missiles, 2 missiles of unidentified type, and 91 drones. So this is what they identified. And the Russian targeted civilian infrastructure in Sumy Oblast and Dnipro with missiles. So let's see where Sumy and Dnipro is. Sumy, right here in the northeast, I would say, of Ukraine, and the Dnipro is Dnipropetrovsk here, or Dnipro is just the Dnipro River. Let's see what they say. Dnipro. Kursk Oblast and Dnipro. Dnipro is the Dnipro River, Dnipro. All right, let's see, maybe they say something. According to the air forces, one of the 91 drones headed towards Belarus. 44 drones were lost in terms of location, and 1 remains in the sky over Ukraine's combat operations continue. Okay, Kiev Oblast as well, Dnipro. Russian attack Dnipro is with ballistic missiles resulting in, obviously, how do you call it? Civilians. So I'm guessing they talk about Dnipro as Dnipropetrovsk, and the Russians are calling it Dnipropetrovsk. I'm just guessing that a little thing here, but what can you do? Where is that? I'm talking about, where's Dnipropetrovsk? Right here. Dnipropetrovsk, and this is the Russian map. But let's see how these guys are calling it on this map, which is not Russian, if I remember correctly. Let's see where it's at. Dnipro, exactly. Oh man, look at me. Dnipro right here. So this is where they attacked. And right here, Dnipro. So the Russians call Dnipropetrovsk, these guys Dnipro. Dnipro. Here is, let's see what these guys are saying about that incident. 3 people killed, including a child, 90 more wounded as Russian missile strike with ballistic missiles in Dnipro city overnight. Got that? Got that. Okay, we got this cover. Let's see if they tell us where they were launched from. Ram pam tsam, klam kam kam. No, niet, they don't. Now we're going to go to India, which is a disloyal country according to some. CBC. India makes it clear it's not interested in a Western alliance. I wonder why. First, India never said that is against an alliance with those guys. India said we're going to look for our interest and we're going to pick and choose. We're not your enemies, but we feel comfortable being in these kind of organizations. And India is strong, is a nuclear power, democracy, big economic power, and is growing. What are they going to do about it? And if you look here a little bit, you see there's someone else in the back, right here. These guys, 1.3 billion people, 1.5 billion, and this is what, 145 million people. So all these guys here, together, they make about, what, 3 billion people out of 7 billion people. Right here. These guys, with all nuclear weapons, all these guys I think are in the first, I don't know, 10 economies on this planet. These guys are toast. So Modi, who I think is courageous, very courageous, not as much as, I mean, Xi Jinping is courageous, but this guy needed more because I think India is weaker than China with many respects over here and many reasons. But let's see what these guys are saying, how they are not interested in a Western alliance. I will tell you another reason. Your family, if the next door family, helped your, unfortunately, enemies, which are your neighbors, next door neighbors, they helped them to attack you and you fought them or fought in a war, you know. And I'm talking about Pakistan and India. So when you fund those guys to be ready that, okay, and I have problems with them, you are my enemy, obviously. And if those neighbors helped me, those are his enemies. So the Soviets helped India. It's very interesting. India is a democracy and was helped by the non-democratic forces of Soviet Union, provided with military expertise and all that, armament. But the West, the democratic West, helped Pakistan stay a military dictatorship at one point, right? And the military plays over there a big role of dictating who's when, what's what. Now, I don't think I would be beaten up if I say that as democracies, India is ahead of Pakistan. I don't think someone's going to smack me and say, that's not true, you don't know anything what you're talking about. I'm talking about, I know, those guys have the military over there ready. You can say, well, the Indians have too. My point was this. Americans helped Pakistan and they have CIA operatives inside Pakistan hitting war on terrorism, remember, in Afghanistan or wherever they want over there. And these guys here were led by the evil Soviets, now turned, let's say, Russians. So these guys do not forget that. And that's exactly what the Foreign Minister of India, Dr. Jaishankar, said. We don't forget, remember, while you were arming Pakistan, which was not a democracy, the Soviets were helping us. So do you want us to forget that? That's very disloyal. I know here things work like that because we here, as I not only learn about by reading and by experience, you're allowed here to promise something and then change your mind. And say, tabula rasa and whatever, blanche card, we start again, start over. Like I promise you something and then I say, I changed my mind, man, I'm not going to do that. And it's perfectly fine nowadays. In the past, you would be looked at as a person that you was not trustworthy in the village or city. Nowadays, you're smart, you're sneaky, you're interested. You have only one life, yeah, man, but you're a good person. You go to church every Sunday. All right, let's move on here. Let's see how these guys are making the, what do you call it, the point. As the dispute over assassination plot lingered, the Modi government rebuffs U.S. attempts to boo India. That's not where he started, Evan, Dyer, or even, is not how we, but see, that's another, I didn't read this article, obviously. This is another way you propagandize and you give the spin. You start the events of an issue wherever you want, not even in the chronology of events. You don't start from the beginning. You start wherever it fits your narrative and whatever you want to tell the baboons. And then you pick and choose, you select, and you ignore other things that will destroy your point. That's exactly what Evan Dyers does in the first thing. It's a dispute and linger. So that is, India is upset with the West because they did something bad to Canada and to United States of America. That means the Indians are bad. Just so you know, from the very beginning, that's Evans gives you that. That's the whole point. Painting India as bad, not wanting to come to the good side, staying with the bad side. Okay, that's what it is. And then that's not it. His history starts 5 months ago. Indian's history starts, thousands. But he's over there to give a spin, not to give you the truth. So if you read that article, you're just going to be propagandized. You're going to find half truth and a lot of, lying by omission. India, if you show India can't be threatened. And these guys, unfortunately, in charge of us, nowadays in their, as I always say, in the toolbox or diplomatic toolbox since 1991 have only 4 tools. 1, threats. They try to threaten India. Blackmail, try to blackmail India. Third one is regime change. They try it, and how they do it, they usually find an NGO complaining about some human rights violation in that country, and then we feel like we have to impose sanctions. That's threats over there, right there, and blackmail, and then we try to activate a certain kind of community within that, they, in our names, on our payroll. But they're not our people. They are those people, those people's people. And then they start or organize some spontaneous organization in New Delhi, and then they overthrow the government, and then we immediately recognize the government because that's how you are in democracies. When someone overthrows the government, democratically elected, that you don't like, we immediately do it. Like Ukraine, 2014. If that happens when the Russians, let's say, do it, or someone else does it, but CIA is way ahead of the Russians' experience in doing that. You don't like that? You have a phone? Obviously you do. If you have a phone, just click a few times, you're going to find out CIA interventions in coups in South America. If you want, or if you want Iran, or if you want, just pick a country, my God, all right, including Russia. And Russian interference. You don't know what happened in Russia after 1991 with Yeltsin? We had CIA offices in Moscow, but hey, we never interfere. Our State Department funded Yeltsin's second election. You know what it is? A foreign state and gave advisors to Yeltsin's team. The American government gave the Yeltsin team to win the second election. And money? That is not interference whatsoever. And this guy said that 2 guys from Montenegro, some drunks with some ladies of the night, posted some garbage on Facebook and interference of the Montenegrins or whatever they were. North Macedonians or something. And again, North Macedonians and South Macedonians, I think, again, it's a reason of discord. But these guys can come and push North Macedonians against the South Macedonians, or North Macedonians against the Greeks, the Hellas. So here, that's the whole point. No, they're not going to stay with you, and you're upset. And here, when 2 people, get in a good understanding, which is right here, Business Insider, Xi Jinping undercut the West by negotiating a truce in China's long feud with India. So China, obviously, by this title, if I understand it correctly, we are upset that China and India, they are negotiating a truce in a summit. So we are upset about it? Obviously, I think that's a monumental diplomatic success coming from the 2 countries. That was one of the things that is still, the things are not solved right now between India and China whatsoever. Or between India and Pakistan. Pakistan is interested in joining India's BRICS organization. So it doesn't mean, but there's steps towards that. Who is concerned about that? John Kirby said here, don't worry, we're not concerned about BRICS. I think they shat their pants. You can smell it in their little, how do you call those, diapers that they wear, adult diapers that they wear, but they wear it because they poop continuously. Like that, and then exactly like that. I can hear them. It's exactly. It was like the droppings, like a how do you call it? Like a rabbit. That's how they poop, like rabbits, because they're rabbits. They're weak people. They're cowards, but they work with our might, built by your ancestors. I'm talking about the Americans, right? Even though my ancestors were here too, and nevertheless, I think in the decades I've been here, I pushed and I helped, I supported this country more than many other fuckers born here. You don't like that? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about people that just stay for, yeah, thank you, you owe me that. How about the repair my car? And you know what I mean. And not only, go and fucking get a job. There's another job. It's a lot of jobs over there to work. Work jobs, save, don't and get 10 kids with 10 women and so on. Just, it's very easy, very easy. This is an organized society, very well structured. You can make it, no problem. So here, she undercuts the West. Oh my God, undercuts the West. So they were supposed to be fighting? Yeah. All right, my friends. They lost. These guys lost, as I said many times before. The club of the very good is forming. They already came with a declaration in Kazan, Russia, after the BRICS meeting. During the BRICS meeting, they came with that, and I said, this is going to happen. They're going to create, first, they say, you either remodel, we reshape, we renegotiate the current global institutions because they're very undemocratic and you guys took over, and then you sanction everybody else, and then you blackmail them with those sanctions that you can through your formed institutions. Or, I said many times before, the BRICS countries will create an alternative institutions and everything. They have, let's say, the global, not global warming, the global tankers insurances. Let's say they're located in London. A few companies over there, they're allowed to have that. Allowed is the word. And these guys will create their own. They will be parallel. These guys are not going to recognize your guarantees insurance, and you're not going to recognize them until you realize that you can't go like this, and you're going to negotiate and you're going to come over. And they will do it the same as Khrushchev did to JFK. You take your missiles, Jupiter nuclear missiles from Turkey and Italy in 6, you take them, and I said, no, okay, we're going to bring to Cuba. You can't do that. And Khrushchev won because he made the Americans take the Jupiters from Turkey. Missiles with nuclear warheads. Soviet Union did not have nuclear warheads deployed in Cuba, never touched down over there. So, okay, so who won? In 6 months, these guys got it out. So the same here. You don't want to be with us on the same table? You think you're the guy who's going to distribute, and why not? Distribute the crumbs to everybody else? All right, we're going to get bang together. Yeah, we're going to band together, and then we're going to threaten you. We're going to form our own table over there. And at some point, we're going to collide. And we have nuclear weapons, we have economies, we have resources, we have manpower. What do you have? Sex change? Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.